Conspiracy theories are a staple of any internet community. From flat earthers to those who believe we never stepped foot on the moon, discussions about what is and isn't true is constant even in the Yu-Gi-Oh community. And what is Yu-Gi-Oh's #1 conspiracy theory? It all revolves around one card, the elemental hero, Air Neos. Air Neos is one of many cards included in the elemental hero archetype. Like other fusions in this archetype, Air Neos requires 2 cards, Elemental Hero Neos and Neospatian Air Hummingbird, to contact fuse by returning them to the deck, similar to a synchro summon. Once on the field, it has an effect to gain attack points equal to the player's deficit in life points. But none of this is out of the ordinary. Contact fusion is fairly common, and its effect is not powerful in this day and age. So why is Air Neos controversial? Air Neos was originally printed in the Strike of Neos core set way back in 2007, in which it came in both ultra rare and ultimate rare. From there, Air Neos made an appearance on the card Dimension Explosion, which was printed in 2008 in the Phantom Darkness core set. And an important note, if they do a Phantom Darkness reprint like they did with Light of Destruction, it'll be very telling if Air Neos is removed from this card. After that, Air Neos only had a single reprint that many people do not realize, coming in the Samurai Assault Special Edition in 2011. This special edition contained 1 pack each of Strike of Neos, Crimson Crisis, and Storm of Ragnarok. While this technically was a reprint, it was not printed in a new rarity in a conventional reprint set such as a Megaton, Rarity Collection, or Battles of Legend box, because that sort of reprint didn't become popular until a few years later. The Strike of Neos pack itself was simply rewaved in a new product containing other core sets. Many believe this was the last we've seen of Air Neos, but this is not true. Air Neos has made 2 more appearances since 2011 that you may have never heard of. The first one that you likely know about is Air Neos' appearance at the Legacy of the Duelist video game released in 2015. Oddly, a couple years later, it did not release in Duel Links in 2017 or Master Duel in 2021, though according to Mega Capital G's video, the files for Air Neos were found in Duel Links, making it seem like the card was ready for release, but something held it back. Secondly, Air Neos actually got another reprint in 2019. This one you may have never heard of. Strike of Neos got a Korean rewave in both 2012 and 2019. This 2019 print is by far the most recent instance of Air Neos in a product or a game, so I wanted to double check that they actually included the card in the reprint. I was able to find a Reddit post from 3 years ago after the 29 reprint of someone claiming to have pulled 2 ultimate rare Air Neos in one box. While there is a picture of the cards, there is no video. These could have been the 2007 or 2012 print, and without a video of the pull, it is impossible to confirm. Sure, the 2012 print would be the newest reprint compared to the 2011 Samurai Assault print, but it would only be a year difference. But if these are pullable all the way in 2019, that changes a lot. Luckily, I was able to find a video of the cards being pulled to confirm its existence in the 2019 boxes via friend of the channel, Kraken Packs on Whatnot.
And you can pull the Ultra too. Yo! Let's go, dude! What? Dude, it's in the name, bro. It's in the name. Holy schmoly, bro. Very nice.
Now that we know that it's included in the 2019 box, another thing to note is that Konami originally partnered with Daewon Media to bring Yu-Gi-Oh to South Korea, so Daewon could have the ability to reprint a card that Konami might not want to themselves. Though I would find it curious that Konami would allow another company to dictate which Yu-Gi-Oh cards are being reprinted in a certain region, doesn't really seem like them. So this 2019 reprint is very curious. Having occurred after the 2017 Duel Links release, where it seemed like the card was being held out of the game, it seems like Air Neos could have been shadow banned by the company, but they seem to have been okay with the Korean print. Simply not having a lot of reprints does not necessarily mean that a card has been forbidden by Konami, but let's go through some other reasons why it could be. First, as previously mentioned, Air Neos is not in Master Duel or Duel Links, Konami's most recent 2 simulator games. They have released other games since then, but they don't always contain the full card pool, and these 2 seemingly should. However, Duel Links slowly releases their card pool, so being absent there was not alarming originally, but one could argue that Duel Links was the perfect place for such a card, since it gave cards an opportunity to shine that normally weren't amazing in the standard card game. Now, being missing from Master Duel is much different. When Master Duel released, a large portion of the card pool was included, with some of the very newest cards and banned cards being held back for future releases. Air Neos is not banned in the TCG, nor is it a new card. The only reason for it not to be included is something we don't know? Mysterious indeed. Secondly, Rush Duel recently announced a new version of the Air Hummingbird and Neos fusion, Elemental Hero Sky Neos. This card has the same fusion materials as Air Neos, but is a different card. This would be like printing a new card that fused Summon Skull and Red Eyes together, but instead of being called Beast Skull Dragon, it is called Big Scary Dragon with a different effect. This might seem like a dead giveaway that Konami is avoiding the original card, but Rush Duel actually did alternate fusion monsters for multiple Elemental Hero cards as well. So this might not be anything, or in theory, they could have changed the fusions just to mask Air Neos issues, adding to the conspiracy. Or they could have just wanted to make the original cards better. Just saying. Third, Konami recently released an Elemental Hero playmat with 32 other Elemental Hero monsters on it, but Air Neos is nowhere to be found. This wasn't the only place that Air Neos was absent. Air Neos was also left off of the card artwork for Instant Contact. The Air Neos was not on the artwork, though the other heroes from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX's opening 3 are there in the exact position they are in the original montage. I should also mention here that Yu-Gi-Oh! GX is just weird. Air Neos was the only Elemental Hero to debut in Season 3 rather than Season 2 of the anime. Also, the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX anime famously did not get a dub for Season 4. For some reason. And of course, when you throw in the Air Neos issue, weird things happen in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Finally, the most suspicious and most recent event of them all, the Quarter Century Stampede vote. If you don't know about this vote, Konami allowed players, and really anyone, you don't even have to care about Yu-Gi-Oh!, to vote for a card that they wanted to be reprinted in the new set Quarter Century Stampede. A ridiculous amount of people voted for Air Neos to be in the set. While I do not have the hard numbers, I would be shocked if Air Neos didn't lead the entire vote by a mile. Stampede, if the same as Bonanza, will contain 200 nostalgia slot reprints, which means they have plenty of room to add in a card people voted for. While Konami is not required to put in whatever card got a lot or even most of the votes, it would make sense for them to include the most voted for cards unless they have a reason not to do so. Now that you have all the evidence for why there could be a conspiracy, let's dive into people's actual theories behind Air Neos' absence. The number one most widely spread theory about this card is that an Italian airline called Neos Air had a copyright issue with the card name. Anytime the card is mentioned, at least half of the comments believe this is not only potentially true, but to be fact. A problem with conspiracy theories in general is that people hear them and then forget all the details and warnings, saying that it is just a theory and then believe what they heard is fact. This has certainly happened with Neos Air, though it is probably not true. Conspiracy 2. The original artist owns the artwork. Mega Capital G made a video about this topic 2 years ago and mentioned this. This I would find extremely unlikely to be the case. Konami does not strike me as a company who would want to allow an artist to control when they can and cannot print cards, which also brings me back to the Daewon Media Korean print in 2019. How was this allowed if the card was actually shadow banned? Maybe whatever happened took place after 2019 and the card just wasn't worth reprinting before then? Theory 3 from Dark Emperor J's YouTube video. His theory was that Air Neos issues started when it was first printed in the TCG in 2007, causing someone to take notice of the card and have issue with it. Similar to the magician who had an issue with the Pokemon card Kadabra. His evidence was that Legendary Collection GX printed in 2011 reprinted all of the other heroes except Air Neos. Though this evidence is pretty easy to refute since Air Neos got a reprint in the same year as the Samurai Assault Special Editions, so it likely didn't need 2 reprints. But you can argue that Konami does not have a problem reprinting a card multiple times in a matter of months, though it was less common for them to do back in 2011. Another popular guess, especially a few years ago, is that Air Neos is just a bad card and does not need a reprint. Air Neos was used infrequently for an OTK deck in the mid-2010s, but outside of that, is not needed to be in many meta decks, so I can see why people might think this. My major issue with this theory is that there are so many cards reprinted now, basically any card of any relevance has a second print. And now with the Stampede vote showing that people actually want it to be reprinted, this excuse just doesn't fly anymore. These are really all the main conspiracy theories I could find, and none of them are that convincing. So I took things into my own hands and reached out to Konami. I may not be the best person for this job because I don't have any official communication with Konami. I simply reached out to their public email with both my Rux34 email and my personal email, just in case they didn't want to answer me. Here's what I said. Hi, I'm making a video about Elemental Hero Air Neos. As I'm sure you are aware, there are a lot of conspiracy theories regarding this card and why it is missing from Master Duel, Duel Links, certain card artwork such as Instant Contact, the official Konami Elemental Hero playmat, and seems to not be getting a reprint in Stampede despite all of the votes for its players. Would you care to comment on this card as to why it has not been reprinted since 2011 to end the conspiracies? Is it simply not a card that needs a reprint? Or are there other issues? Simply confirming there are issues with the name, art, or anything else would definitely clear up a lot of confusion. Thank you for continuing to create a card game I love. While awaiting Konami's response, I did some digging. I went onto YouTube, searched for Neos, and filtered to oldest, then started watching videos to see if I could find where this whole thing started. Most videos mentioning the card, starting 13 to 14 years ago, have to do with a deck involving an Neos OTK with a couple of box openings. Shout out to Simply Unlucky and Cyberknight for being OGs. The earliest reference I could find to the missing Elemental Hero Neos was on a YouTube video released almost 7 years ago on July 24th, 2018 by Momo Jiri. This video mostly consists of Momo attempting to remember the Neos monsters.
Divine Neos, Neos Wiseman, and like 17 other Neos monsters. All of them have been reprinted. All the Elemental Hero monsters have been reprinted, except Air Neos.
But the comment section does provoke some interesting thought. One comment by JL Sinbound suggests that the card had not been reprinted in order to not draw too much attention to it. He claimed the card should have been banned in the past, but never saw the forbidden or limited list. I asked my friend John, aka House of Champs, who was playing at that time, if the card actually deserved to be banned around then, and he said, absolutely not. So it sounds like it was just a YouTube commenter saying things that were not actually the case, but it was some interesting info. Another comment by Bladder Battler 25 on the same video said, I think it's because no one cares about the card, which follows one of the theories mentioned earlier, but it's hard to believe after the Stampede vote. These comments were the only comments of relevance that were also 5 to 6 years old on the video. The rest were more recent commenters who were spouting out the same speculation normally seen today. After that, Neos isn't referenced until 2021 in a video by MCole40, where he speculates about a potential Neos reprint in the upcoming Speed Duel set.
Do you guys smell that? Is that a possible Neos reprint? Yeah, it might be actually.
Shortly after, I released my first box opening of Strike of Neos on November 20th, 2021, in which I mentioned that some people were hoping for an Neos reprint. I can't remember what I knew about the conspiracy at that time, unfortunately, so that didn't help too much. Though my comments did show that people were hoping for me to pull the Neos, and a couple of them even referenced the Neos lack of reprint, indicating that the desire for a reprint was already prevalent back in 2021. This was further confirmed by a video released on December 8th, 2021 by DavPing243 discussing the missing Neos reprint. There was not any new information in this except for one very menacing suggestion.
This means we need to get this card reprinted in one way or another.
Whoa, Dave, one way or another? What exactly are you planning on doing? After checking this video out, I went to the comment section hoping for some interesting tidbits from past commenters, but was disappointed. Unfortunately, this video only had a single comment, which stated, it's not in Master Duel or Duel Links, which can only tell us that people realized pretty early that Neos was missing from Master Duel's card roster. After this video, the conspiracy videos on YouTube ramp up significantly due to Neos being left off of Instant Contact's artwork shortly after. All of the modern theories and big videos you've probably seen before. Videos from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, Mega Capital G, and many other YouTubers were posted that year, creating the awareness we have for the situation today. Unfortunately, there's nothing concrete to show where the conspiracy was founded, so I had to give up and wait for Konami's response to my email. After about 24 hours, I got a response to the email I sent to Konami. Heart pounding, hope welling up within me, I opened it and read.
Thank you for contacting Konami customer support. In response to your questions, I'm very sorry to tell you that we have no information at this time. Please keep an eye on our website, http://www.konami.com, for information about developments and future plans. Or you can follow us on Twitter and Facebook.
To which they linked their Twitter and their Facebook.
We apologize for the inconvenience and thank you for your feedback.
I don't remember giving any feedback, and it was definitely an inconvenience. Thank you, Konami. I'm not sure what I expected, but I had to give it a try. Imagine if Konami were to just squash the conspiracy through customer support. What a day that would have been. Now, after all this research about the card's history, YouTuber and fan conspiracy theories, searching through the YouTube archives, and reaching out to Konami themselves, Neos' future is still cloudy. Will it ever be reprinted? And why do we even care? Is it simply the fact that we can't have something, so we want it more? In my opinion, it will not get a reprint. For now, it seems like Konami is avoiding any mention of the card at all costs. Not reprinting it in Stampede after the massive amount of votes it received seems like solid proof of that. As for the second question, almost no one even needs an Neos reprint. Sure, the card is stupidly expensive, but it doesn't belong in any meta decks, or really any decks at all for that matter. Okay, Neospatian players, I see. With Sky Neos likely coming to the TCG when we finally get Rush Duel, you can rock it as a proxy in your casual deck. But does that mean that I don't want a reprint? Obviously not. We need that card. And as long as Papa Konami says no, we get more and more invested in his future. Let me know down below why you think Air Neos has not seen a reprint, if it will be reprinted, and if you learned anything about Air Neos in this video. If you enjoy this type of video, subscribe and let me know if you want to see more. Farewell, conspiracy theorists, and Air Neos fade into oblivion.